We're live. Today on the Cristopolis Show, I have the honor of interviewing M80. He sold over 14 million records as an A&R, 49 top 100 Billboard records, and also 20 certified gold and platinum records. There's a new album by Rakim dropping. We're going to bring him on and talk to him about the new Rakim album and his future plans. Let's bring him in. Thank you. Thank you,
What's up, buddy?
I'm good. Thank you so much for joining the Cristopolis Show. Happy Father's Day. Thank you for making time on this special day.
You know why it's special other than the fact it's Father's Day?
Tell me.
Because this is episode 150.
Woo! M80.
Congratulations.
Thank you so much. Episode number 150 of the Cristopolis Show. I appreciate you
Not
so
to
much.
say that episode 149 or 99 or 49 weren't important.
Yeah.
But this is 150.
Yeah.
That's like, I treat every album that an A&R executive producer do whatever on, as important as the next. Clearly, there's tiers and things like that, but it's like you got to build every one of those issues, every one of those episodes, every one of these rungs to get to, where you're trying to go. So I look forward to you, maybe a year from now being like, this is episode 300 and this is episode 500. And that's what it's all about, man, building.
That's exactly right. And I'm receiving that from one of the best to do it right now in the A&R game. I'm not sure that there's a bigger name, and especially in this beautiful thing that we have called hip hop. Yeah.
Yes, sir.
So let's talk about the new Rakim album. June 21st, the first single.
All right.
Let's get right into it.
Guys, skip all the foreplay and went right to the sex.
That's how we are. So let's slide into third base. The new album has a single dropping June 21st. Web launch, single, and music video with the album dropping July 26th.
June 21st might break the internet. We got the single dropping, the video. Rolling Stone is premiering the video, and it's so much more. We have worldwide press, like PR reps, marketers, advertisers, the whole nine. But when Rolling Stone or someone of that tier posts it, every media source, every blog, every outlet will take from an A list and, essentially do our job for us.
Yeah.
So that video is going to be everywhere. I'm sure ultimately we'll end up catching it on Revolt TV or MTV or BET or something of that nature. As soon as that drops, then our goal is to lock in Jimmy Fallon. Kurupt currently on tour with Snoop. I was with them last night.
Yeah.
Master Killer's just waiting in the wing in between the Wu-Tang dates and stuff like that and new recordings and things like that. So it's like, it will totally, the release of the single will propel, I'm sure, what will be 6 figures in pre-orders on the first 48 hours.
Wow.
So on that very day when we launch the website, then you're going to be able to get the retail edition of the CD, the variant 24 karat gold edition of the CD, which that's the one where everyone that buys it in the first week, assuming it's available for a week, there's only 500 units, their names will be featured in the thank yous of that version of the album. The cassettes, the 4 or 5 different kinds of 12-inch vinyls, the limited edition, there's 700 copies of the 7-inch, which is the A side with the single Be Ill with Kurupt and Master Killer, and the B side, Love Is the Message, with Nipsey Hussle and Snoop and Planet Asia and Louis King, and the full-on LA choir with Sally Green and Kobe Honeycutt that I assembled, and a 4-piece violin quartet, and of course Rakim produced both these records as well. So yes, I'm it's like being in prison and scratching an X or a line on the wall every day. Like, I can't wait till I get out. Like, I really wish I could fast forward to June 21st and July 26th, because these are very significant dates for my life.
That's amazing. You've done an amazing job of taking us on the journey through the music video shoots and promoting it and letting the whole world know that this is coming. You're also on the cutting edge of everything that is the music industry right now. Independently released merchandise, NFTs, the featurings, and it's like you're a professional at the top of this game, working with what many consider to be the best to ever do it in Rakim. Definitely Mount Rushmore, right? If nothing else. And you're bringing it all together for the first self-produced Rakim album. A lot of people didn't know he produced.
Yeah. And that's crazy because my favorite Rakim song of all time has always been Juice, Know the Ledge. And I always knew that was in part Rakim production. And that made me want to do the knowledge on what else was, Rakim produced. And it's not just 2 or 3 here and there. It's like 30, 40, 50 gems in which at least a dozen of these are considered classic records. The interesting thing was how this all developed. Like, we first did a deal with Fat Beats during the pandemic. So essentially 4 years ago at this point in time. And it was supposed to be for a Rakim project in which there was 4 new songs and 3 remixes. We thought that it would get done ASAP just because during the pandemic, no one was touring, no one's leaving the house. Like, we took the advance money and essentially used it to fund a studio in Rakim's house for ease and convenience. Then the world changed. And people were able to travel again and move about as freely as they want. And, Rakim has, like, when you watch, like, for instance, if you're a fan of Power, there was at least 10 or 12 different Rakim syncs put into all these Power series. And then he had a book come out, and then he's back touring. So it's like money was never the issue. And it wasn't the issue when Rakim signed with Dr. Dre and Aftermath. It was about, like, is this something I want to do in this time? We all know if Rakim never made another rap record again, it would not change his legacy at all. So he essentially only has things to lose. There's not too much for him to gain as being at the top of the fucking mountain,
Right.
So this, when Fat Beats was going to get sold, and, I was interested in buying the company, and that didn't pan out. Essentially, it was like the owner was tying up loose ends. So Matt Kemp, Rakim's manager, had refunded the money to them, and that just bought him out of the contract. I think I might list that as one of the NFTs. I have the frame version for a contract of an album that didn't happen, and that's rare. You know,
super rare.
The only album that I've ever promoted and marketed in my lifetime that I feared wasn't going to ever see the light of day was the Horseman album, and they had worked on it for 20 years, and I was there for like a decade or plus of those years, and eventually got that out, off the ground. Hence why the album's called The Last Ride. I'm never going to dedicate 20-some years of my life to doing one single project again. On average, when I A&R record and build it from scratch and get it, its record deal or distribution deal and market the whole nine, we're looking at a 6 to 12 month process. So to put 10 plus years into one record is pretty nuts. So I approached Rakim and Matt with the idea of, why don't we do something focusing on Rakim as the producer?
Wow.
So that's one reason you see why there's all these feature names. Because one, it's not just a dream of Rakim. It's everyone's dream, and I'll explain this. It's Rakim's dream to be like, I want the world to know how amazing of a producer I am. Like, people know Eminem produces because he had big records like Jay-Z and stuff, and it was produced by Eminem. These bigger Rakim records, Rakim was always kind of like foreshadowed by Eric B. or someone else, just because the marketing dynamic of it was Rakim's the MC, and you're the DJ, and who the producer was kind of irrelevant in the late 80s, early 90s.
Right.
As I built it and would get artists on there like Method Man and X-Rated and Nipsey Hussle and Kurupt and Master Killer and Chino XL and Crooked Eye, Rakim would hear this shit and be like, I gotta splash it. So, like, literally, people might laugh because they're like, BG's on there? That seems out of place. Like, as if questioning essentially my integrity as well. Like, I don't know what I'm doing. BG1 just got out of prison, and he was at the top of his, not the top of his game when he was incarcerated, but still BG, multi-platinum selling BG that, did big records outside of just his southern niche. If you remember, Young Black Entrepreneurs with Prodigy, for one example. Rakim went and redid his verse 3 times. So what's that got to say about how strong a BG verse is, or how strong a Hus Kingpin verse is, or how adept Come to Menace hook is? Like, I know what I'm doing here. Or like, on the Posse Cut song with Crooked Eye and Chino and A Lot of the Dark Man and Canibus, he had a verse on it. He did 2 different verses. Took both those off and was like, you know what? I'm going to big them up. I'm going to do a hook and make sure I'm shouting them out as they're leading in each of their verses. So it went from just highlighting Rakim as the producer to, okay, I'm going to splash each track. So yes, Rakim is also featured on every song. there was other DJs that did the cuts on the project. And trust me, I love the cuts.
Yeah.
And Rakim ended up going, you know what? Not to say I don't like it, but I can do this too.
Wow.
So I had to call them back. Hey, I'm sorry you didn't make the final cut. And Rakim came in. And then, like, if you look at the initial press, you know, the single was originally from my Instagram billed as the Rebirth NWA. I'm sorry, NMA. NMA stand for No Mistakes Allowed. And now the song's called Be Ill. So it's like we went and revamped everything. And the more press he saw getting, the more love he saw getting, especially not just from like media, but from his peers. Like if you look at one of these Rakim posts, you got people like Killer Mike and Pharoah Monch and Pete Rock and Jazzy Jeff, and the list goes infinite. That told him, okay, I'm really going to come with it now. And of course, I would have loved to be like, hey, Ra, I wish you would put another verse here. Or like, you know, you did only a hook here. Maybe a verse would be great. But again, this is Rakim, the perfectionist. And if he listens to the master and said, this is the body of work I am happy with, that I want the world to digest, and it essentially put a new battery in his back, he's like, I'm ready to start the next one. I'm like, this is crazy. Because Rakim's dream to have people note him as a producer. My dream to say at the very top of this pinnacle of all these albums I've done, I have Rakim. I might live the rest of my life still working, of course, but never having a record. Never having a record that's going to be as meaningful to me, or maybe as meaningful, as powerful to the world. And I'm okay with that because this was a dream that I set for me. Why is it a dream for all you at home? Again, because the critics were always like, you know, questioning Rakim's ability because it seemed like all what we're judging him and his legacy on was so in the past. You know, Rakim's legacy predates a lot of hip hop listeners. You know, like I'm going to be 43 this year. Hip hop just turned 50, and it's like, imagine selling the greatness of Rakim to someone in their 20s, or you know, to early to late 20s. They're going to say their favorite artist is a Travis Scott or a Kanye West or something. But you have Jay-Z's, and you have, you know, the list will go on. And Nas is a great example. These are legacy names that remain consistent, especially in most recent times. So I'm very happy to hear that this battery's been put back in Rakim's back. And I know that he's been working on a full-length album for just as long as we've been working on this. And I'd love to be a part of additional Rakim works. And it became more than just the EP. For the fans at home, just to give you an idea, every rapper in the world at one point in time has wanted to do a song with Rakim. Rakim doesn't work like most people. Example, when Canibus did a song with Rakim on 2000 BC, it's not as easy. And remember, the internet was the thing then. It wasn't as easy as just mailing a track and talking on the phone. He had to go to Rakim, spend essentially a week with him, for Rakim to be like, okay, I'm ready to record today. It's like that. When Rakim works with producers, he wants them to come to him, work with him for a week at a time, and it might only bring to life one song. It's not when you see like interviews with Tupac, I had 7 days to make this album and I did 3-4 songs a day. It's not like that at all. Like, this is someone, like, the closest example I can give the world that they might resonate with is GZA from Wu-Tang Clan. GZA, the genius, a perfectionist of his craft, might spend 6 months crafting the perfect 16-bar verse. And we, the consumer, are none the wiser because we just get the music and it is what it is. We can digest someone's 5 years of work in 3 minutes. We don't really know any of the history behind what it took to make this all, you know, all happen. That's why I'm giving everyone at home like these kind of real-time updates. But the last 3 Rakim features, I can tell you, have been for like $250,000 plus in total. All right, that's how valuable a feature from Rakim is, his time, the name associated to his tracks. We also created what's called the God Pack. And the God Pack is going to launch July 12th. That is going to be a package of Rakim-produced beats and a Rakim verse that rappers at home can license and use with full commercial rights, fully legal for their forthcoming project releases. We have gone the extra mile to make that dream come true for every rapper at home.
Wow.
Even if you're a producer, you might not want the Rakim beats. Like, cool, you just whatever. You bought the pack so you could have this Rakim verse to use on your own DJ Khaled style album, your own producer album. And Rakim was a big fan of that because, again, it's another example of putting, you know, an older artist that
Yep.
only knows the older methods
Yep.
and marketing techniques and his own ways of how he goes to, you know, connect the dots from A to Z, to be more in tune with, you know, this might appeal to a 20-some-year-old artist that may have never heard of Rakim, but just sees the value in owning the pack.
Yeah.
So we're doing really the most with this project. And as far as those NFT goes, you know, for the artist at home that wants to own a one-of-one Rakim produced beat that's just going to be for their record and, you know, never to be heard from again, that's one of the NFTs. Some select art, like that's going to, the art piece is featured in the Be Ill video that Nanlib did and Rakim signed. It's a one-of-one piece.
Wow.
Maybe even including, we're including some like VIP passes and meet and greets to forthcoming shows that anyone in the world can buy, but the shows are going to be taking place in America. So we're really, you know, making it the most all-inclusive experience you can fathom.
Yeah. No, it sounds amazing. I know that myself and many people want one of those 500 14 karat gold etched CDs with your name on it. Yeah, I mean that's incredibly special. Just having the CD is special. What are your thoughts?
I like shit like that. Like, to give you an example, something like that. Okay, when I say I order 1,000 CDs from disc makers and it's in a 4-panel digipack, you know, you just open it, that boom, 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 1, 2, 3, 4. That's what they call 4-panel. This is 6. The discs in the middle, the panels open up left and right on both sides. But if I was just getting a normal CD, I might be looking at $1.70 to $2 a unit. These CDs per unit costs up to like $10, okay? Especially with the bigger package. When I did the Horseman album that had the lifted, embossed cover, those were like $6, $7 a unit to make. So it's like we weren't skimping on any cost. I feel like the consumer base will be there, especially if I'm not saying like there's 10,000 of these. Like 500 of them, we'll let them go. Those are going to be $50 a piece, but it's going to include your name in the credits or your name in the thank yous, a free bonus CD that no one can get anywhere else. Like, you can't get it if you buy the vinyl or a tape or a shirt. Also the free digital download. So when you break it down, you know, okay, the digital download will be $10, $12. The bonus CD would be $10, $15. You know, what's it worth to have your name in the credits? I'd like to assume it's, you know, I've seen A$AP Rocky and they did it on an A$AP Mob project that never came out. I remember paying, I think, $100 and I never got my $100 back. That was bullshit. But luckily people know that if M80's name on it, it's good to go and you will get your product. So, you know, yeah, it's just like my whole point of doing the Rakim project. Like I said, it's fulfilling my dream. It's fulfilling a goal that I set out for myself nearly 5 years ago and that I'd never stop pursuing. Like, for people that have followed me on social media for many years, you can kind of understand now that there's emails I posted a couple times. It was like, I'll give you $100,000 if you can finish this by this, but I cross off the name. Those were emails to Rakim and management.
Wow.
Like, this was not about how much money can I make or can I even recoup. Even at a financial loss, to me, it is a life win.
Absolutely.
So I produced Holy Toledo Productions outside of being an A&R firm and, you know, like a label house and stuff like that for all these years, was a very big event production company. I produced over 70 to 80 different events between the years of 2007 and 2017. I'm talking about for artists that book out for over $1 million to the hundreds of thousands. But there's a few examples of shows where I lost $20,000 here, $50,000 there. And I have to just, you know, tuck my tail and be okay with it.
Yeah.
But you at home, I spent 50 grand essentially to have the experience, and you spent $25.
Yeah.
So even at a financial loss to me, it is a life win. And I have to look at it like there will be 6 figures or more of opportunity to come as the A&R and executive producer of the first new Rakim project in 15 years. Yeah. Even if the project itself doesn't make the money back, which I'm confident it will.
Yeah.
All these additional opportunities will suffice.
Yeah.
Will provide anything that I've lost along the way.
Yeah. No, that's good. I think that, you know, doing this album with Rakim is definitely going to be something you never regret, right? And hip hop in general, you know, is going to be grateful for this. It's, you like you said, puts a battery pack back into Rakim. So who knows what's coming next? You have a lot of experience in producing shows. You were with Snoop Dogg last night.
I'm exhausted, by the way.
I imagine.
I took a shower
you
right
being
before
here
this,
'cause I was
like,
watching the
like,
stories. I
yes,
was
so I
like, he's
could be
having
like
a
up.
blast. You know, is the Rakim tour coming?
There's Rakim dates scheduled from now until the end of the year. Like he did Chicago last night, which is funny because we were like 2 hours away from each other. And we tried to think if there was a way that I could take Dog from Milwaukee to Chicago. That way they could all go meet with Farrakhan and just have a nice sit down.
Yeah.
Now, I did a record for Queen Yonazda that's she's related to Farrakhan, so he definitely knows who I am, and we've met before. I've been to Savior's Day, the whole nine, but it just wasn't fathomable for us to go from Milwaukee. Dog end up throwing the first pitch at the Brewers game, but it's always a lot, man. There's always a lot going on. There's going to be plenty of Rakim American dates where he will be performing new material. We wanted Rakim recently did a show at Radio City Music Hall. It was a Tony Touch show where Tony Touch had a bunch of special guests. If that would have been a full-on Rakim show, Master Killer would have come as a special guest with Rakim and debuted Be Ill live. But I think the live debut will essentially be if we book Jimmy Fallon. That's I mean, of all the shows, that's my go-to. Like that I actually watch. I'll tune into Kimmel sometimes and stuff like that. And that's LA based, but you know, I want the television debut to be Rakim, Kurupt, Master Killer, backed by the Roots. Like that's what the world wants. And I'm a member of the world.
Yeah.
I want to be
That's
just
what hip-hop
as pleased
wants.
as those watching from home that have no interest and no like hands into the record.
Yeah. That's really good. So we're all cheering for that Jimmy Fallon. We'll tag Jimmy Fallon and everything and make sure that, you know, that we could do what we can to make that happen.
Yeah.
You know, one of the areas where, you know, people like myself that are in the hip hop community, where we've heard your name, you know, unrelated to just the work you've done on albums, is related to kind of like this God Pack, where it's these featuring production kits. Did you come up with this idea? You've definitely, you know, like exponentially taken it to a whole level. Can you talk to us about that business?
I am the credited inventor of verse licensing.
Wow.
Verse licensing is I'm going to buy a beat, and there's certain elements of the contracts that align and provide for assignment, transferability, licensing, things of that nature. So as I started working as an A&R on all these records, I have ownership percentages in the majority of these records, okay? Whether I'm an A&R admin, whether I'm the A&R, whether I'm an executive producer, whether I'm a silent partner, whatever it is. That's important to me. Yeah. As I'm amassing this verse catalog, that's when the idea came to me, and it came to me in two ways. One, consumers at home would reach out to me as they see me with all these artists. I'd love to do a song with Killah Priest. I'd love to do a song with Canibus. I'd love to do a song with Kurupt, Snoop Dogg, you name it. And never have the budgets to do so, okay? So imagine Snoop Dogg charges $150,000, $250,000 a verse. You know, that's where it is now.
Right.
Back in the day, it could have been 20 grand, 30 grand, 50 grand, whatever. But you have $5 grand to spend. Okay, are you opposed to having a license? Well, what's that? I don't understand. Like, I want a verse. A license is a verse. It's previously released, previously recorded under third-party copyright ownership. Then the next logical question is, well, how many times has it been used? Where? Like, where was the source file? Was it from one of his albums? And the answer to that's usually 99% of the time is no. Right. Now, my Ghostface licenses came from a Ghostface album that I own the master to, the publishing, as the executive producer. That's a very rare circumstance there. That was the consumer element of why it made sense to start the licensing. The basis for it was my friend Adrian Beckler, invented production licensing. And that just made sense to me. That was the most innovative thing I'd ever heard of. Why? Because as a producer, now, present day, he sells exclusive beats for like $5,000 a piece. But guess what? Upcoming artists don't just have $5,000. Every album I made at M80 from the year 1996 to 2004, 7, somewhere in that realm, on average, I'm spending $10,000 to $20,000 to make the record. The features, the production, the recording time, the mixing, the mastering, the whole nine. These packs, now his beats, I almost jumped ahead of myself. The licensed beats could be as cheap as $25 a piece.
Right.
But what does that mean? From a production standpoint, more people are going to license production than features. Any verse that's in my catalog, that's just a standalone verse, that's not part of a pack, has never been licensed more than 10 times. Right. Okay? But a beat for $25, $50, $100, whatever it is you're charging, allows Adrian, and now hundreds of producers have followed suit in light of that, can maintain their ownership. They can still sell the beat as an exclusive at some point in time if they wish. I think that speaks more to the consumer if they want to then say, this beat's so good, I don't care how many people have already licensed it, I want to own it. But it just keeps your financial reality in check. Like, thousands of people have $25 to spend. Thousands of people don't necessarily have $5,000 to spend. My verse licenses aren't so cheap. We make the packs cheap because we're going to sell them in bulk.
Got it.
Okay, that's that. So there's a couple complaints that come with this side of the business. One, the artistic integrity of the music. Maybe E40 didn't anticipate on doing that verse for this person's song and therefore feels slighted. Any artist ever to contact me, hey, if you ever need me to do an exclusive for you, I'm in.
Right.
I do not want to be part of the licensing catalog. Even if they signed off, I will honor their wish, unless I just don't like the person. I'm like, screw you, which happens. And it might happen because they just approached me the wrong way. But anyone I work with that knows me, I'm a businessman, I'm a professional. Talk to me. If you don't like this side of my business, let me know. So there's a certain few artists I don't have on there. 40 would be one of them. Yeah. For the packs, like I said, it is for a much broader audience. Yeah. The goal is, we're going to spend $30,000 to $50,000. That's our common ground there on just the creation of the pack. Then $10,000 to $30,000 in marketing. Now we extend the marketing budget so we can see how much money was spent on that given day. If we made profit that day, then of course, okay, cool. If we spent $1,000 that day for marketing and did $2,000 in sales, we made $1,000 profit. Then we'll keep the marketing budget going as we go from day to day to day. If we lost money, then we might adjust the following day to be a lesser valued, for outreach and stuff like that. What comes with just the idea, people think it's just like some idea. It's not just some idea. I went to law school, and it was not to become an attorney. It was to master the business of the music, the administrative side of the music, really understand the in and outs, because, again, the music industry, the business side of the music, is not meant for the artist to be masters of the universe of. They're meant to just be the best rappers they can be, the best rock stars they can be, the best jazz players, whatever it is, in their own genre. It is up for the executives to be the most knowledgeable about the business. Why? Because they created it. Just like the people who created streaming. The guy who invented Spotify is a billionaire, and meanwhile the artists are cutting their fractions of pennies. Okay? That's because he invented that practice. And yes, people go at him, and I'm not saying I invented a new Spotify or anything. My shit actually predates Spotify. Yeah. But it's a new invention. It's not going to be well received by everyone. Yeah. People aren't going to understand it. People are going to shit on it. The only thing that keeps me good is people know, oh, it's M80's. He's the trusted guy. If he says something's official, it's official. Anyone that has anything to say about me and the business practice, they don't know me. Yeah. They don't know that I would literally break my fucking back to right a wrong. I think that everything we're doing is right. So anything and everything I can do to help at any time, excuse me, I'm willing to do. Yeah. And go the extra mile. There's been packs when I produced concerts. I spent $125,000 one time to have. It was when Kendrick had Good Kid, Mad City, and it was a TDE tour. So it was Kendrick, Schoolboy Q, Absol, J-Rock, and then special guest Kid Ink. I spent $125,000 on that package, and then I made $126,000 back. Hardly worth it, right? You could take $500 and invest it in something and make enough, you know.
Right.
So that's the risk. But there's been packs, just like with concerts, where we've lost money on, where we've broken even, but we went and did all the work for you, so you could spend your $200, your $500, your $1,000, whatever it is you're spending, and win. We've created so many winners.
Yeah.
I've heard songs we've licensed on the radio. I have artists that have brokered record deals and distribution deals and have received gold plaques and things of that nature. And it's like, these doors in reality could not have been opened without the intellectual advent of people like myself and Adrian. And Adrian has all these additional partners that have come aboard. And the thing is this, we're credited for building so many of these companies. Your Legion Beats, your Wishmaster Beats, your Temper Beats, your DJ Flips and 808 Cartels.
Yeah.
The smart person looks at it like, if I'm able to make money, and this is my whole shit.
Yeah.
Every time I I don't have any artists that are signed to Holy Toledo Productions. Like, I'm not a record label. I'm an A&R firm.
Good.
I exist in this greater world of hip hop because I have relationships. I can call Snoop's manager anytime. I got $100 grand to do this. I got 50 grand to do this. 200 grand, whatever it is. Same applies to with Wu-Tang. Same applies to Crooked Eye or Kurupt or Planet Asia or Hus Kingpin or Chino. Name any artist I work with. There's no one signed to me. I am a professional dot connector that handles many tasks, okay? So me and Anna invented this shit. Now, the difference is we own the service marks, the trademarks, the intellectual property that comes with it. I built Temper Beats, that company, for 3 years. He flew to America. There's even a video, man. I mean, he's helped me make $150,000 some dollars, like da, 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 da. Then he decides to go off to this other company with DJ Flip. We don't need you anymore. I respond, that's cool. You can work with whoever you want. I'm not going to hold you.
Right.
Like, you know how to do this shit now. If you feel comfortable reaching out to the artist yourself, that by all means. People feel comfortable going through me. One, I have the law degree. That's why I was able to invent this admin, okay? Two, in my contracts, and this has never happened, we've never had a deal where it's like I spent the money and the person didn't do the work.
Right.
If that were to ever happen, I'm responsible for your money. That peace of mind. There's never going to be a scenario, I gave them 100 grand and like they vanished. The artist never did the work. Like, no, I would owe you that money. So they're like, we're just going to partner together. Thank you for getting us to this level. And now we understand how this works. I told them, that's fine. Work with whoever you want. You still have to pay me. They're like, for what? You're not brokering the features. You're using my technology. You're using my intellectual property, my marks. Beats and features pack, registered. All the wording in the contract, the clauses, I invented those. It's registered. The intellectual property is owned by Holy Toledo Productions. Copyrights registered. So they don't understand that, well, we're just going to have our attorneys do X, Y, and Z. It doesn't matter because you're still trying to modify. Like, it's like, I'm going to reinvent a car and put a fifth wheel. It's still a fucking car, dude. You can't just go make a car and like start, So that's probably a very loose example. But so my attorney, we'd have to, every time they dropped a pack, we'd have to buy it. And then they'd instantly refund me. Like, they don't want me to have the shit, just to show for when we do go to court. This is my agreement. This is theirs. It's the same damn thing. They just swapped out like the headers. There's companies I work with in there because they're owned by my friends. Like Media Famous was owned by Domingo. Media Famous was sold to Symphonic. In their agreements, they still put you can distribute with Media Famous. It's not even a distributor anymore. Yeah. It's like, damn, you guys copied off my test without even realizing like that your name's not Matt Markoff. Yeah. That's what it is. So thank God for these other companies that come and step to me correctly, like Legion Beats and Wishmaster and this new company, Big Shot Beats in Canada. How much is it to license the IP? Will you help me do X, Y, and Z? I can do everything you want me to do. But for them to just be like, we're not paying you another dime, okay, then you're just choosing to be greedy. And we invented something that everyone can make money on and win. Choosing greed is just like saying that you're a douchebag. And again, not everyone can be Matt Markoffs. Not everyone can be Anno Dominis. Anno is legitimately the best human being I've ever met. Wow. I get insanely defensive when I see people online like laughing at what he's trying to do for artists, or mocking the beat licensing or the beats and features pack or anything about him because he's not from America. Right. Like, you really have to love hip hop culture to dedicate your life to it as someone that's not from America. This is
Right.
American born and raised music.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And it's spread to the world at large. So it's like, we know that we all these people are our sons, essentially. We
Yeah.
know that. And I'm a proud father on Father's Day. I'm very proud of all
That's
these things.
good.
Thank you. So we just want the people that are taking from us, to do it the right way. Like, involve us, give me my cut, do it legal, do it right. Now, here's the other thing that sucks about the licensing side of the business. People that don't understand the business of music, they always fuck something up with their release and then apologize for it after the fact, but usually then it's too late. They want to take the features and list them as primaries.
Right.
So therefore, it doesn't show as, say, a M80 song featuring Method Man.
Right.
Now it's a Method Man song and M80, or M8 or Method Man featuring M80,
Right.
like totally flipping it, getting flagged, getting removed, getting copyright strikes, and then not being, and they think it's as easy as, oh, my bad, I'll do it the right way. Like, no,
Yeah.
if you violate these terms of the contract, you can usually never upload again.
Right.
Like, so it's somewhat like, we're doing all the hard work for you, and all your job is to be able to read this contract, upload accordingly, and win.
Yeah.
You have the easy job.
Right.
We have the job, like, dude, I already, in January, me and Anno coordinated for every pack we're dropping in 2024. We're doing a pack a month, which we've never done before. But again, we just want people to understand, like, this is our shit. If you're lucky enough to have a hand in it, be grateful.
Yeah.
Like, I've been working with Snoop since 2007. Even on the times where I'm not happy about any kind of situation,
Right.
I'm able to stop myself from being a fucking dickhead publicly and acknowledge how lucky I am to even be in the position to say I work with Snoop Dogg, or to be in a position to say I'm executive producing a Rakim record. That's why I'm able to win. My skin is insanely thick. When I was M80 the rapper, it was very important to have as many people like you as possible, because every person is a potential sale. As the A&R, as the executive, I don't give a fuck. If you like me, don't like me. Am I doing the best of my job for you at home to appreciate? If I can answer that question yes every day, then great. When that answer becomes no, then maybe I'm going to worry about how others perceive me as a human being. I just need to get the job done.
Yeah.
Whether you like me or don't like me or whatever is irrelevant to me.
That's good. That's good.
Thank you.
I think that the featurings and the beat packs and that whole thing that, you know, really came into hip hop, you know, now it's probably been like 5, 6, 7 years, but really like has created so many songs, so much creativity around the world, people having access to a level of production and artists that they never in their life would have access to.
Never.
So I mean, people can
Never.
people can feel people listen, people are gonna always feel something about something, right? But it truly is an evolution in hip hop. It has had tremendous impact. How did you and Adrian meet?
Adrian and I met literally like when AOL Instant Messenger and Buddy List were a thing. Okay.
Yeah.
I had never used an Anno beat on any of my earlier records, but all the beats from, say, my first couple albums, Expert Explosive and Snakes in the Garden of 80, came from finding producers on like SoundClick and stuff.
Yeah.
And that's when I discovered who Anno was. And a lot of people that are in my age bracket know Anno from the SoundClick era. We would talk, and there was even a time when I was in college where like Anno had offered for me to buy a percentage of the company, and I didn't. Anno and I, the more we worked on these pack ideas and brokering features and brokering production together, that's when I was like, I need you to move to America.
Wow.
We were essentially making like 6 figures together and had never met. And there's only 2 people to date, or well, now it's 1 person, where I've made that kind of money with and never met in real life, and just talk on the phone and shit. And it's weird, right? Because you assume when you like, hey, like we've made $100,000 together, like maybe we should meet, you know, kind of thing, like, and see how we can make this bigger and better. That's when Anno and I had discussed him moving to America. And I was able, and he was with the idea, and was able to get X amount of sign-offs from artists, X amount of sign-offs from labels that we distributed these works with, to help him in the application process for a work visa to come to America. His visa, I believe, was for like 3 or 5 years. He met his now wife, And, you know, they got married. When I met Anna's parents, they're like, we hated you when we first heard about you. Because, like, who's this guy you've never met that's essentially taking our son from us? And then, but because we met at the wedding, like, but then he found the love of his life, and now he has a family. And so, like, we thank you for being, like, an integral part in our son's life. Yeah. That's how it all came about. Like, just like when I work with people now, it's very rarely because of the money. Right. Money comes, money goes kind of shit. I'm a father now. I'm a husband. I'm older. And I just want people, I want all situations to feel as comfortable as possible. That's why I take the shit so personal with, like, the Temper and DJ Flip situation. Like, these dudes were invited into my house. Well, Temper was. He brought Flip, which that pissed me off because, like, it's my fucking house. You don't just bring people into my house without my fucking permission. But when you're betrayed, it hurts that much more because I invest with emotion. Yeah. I can't separate the two. Like, I could never be, like, prevalent in the stock market. Of every dollar, of every move being made. And that's why, like, I've worked and funded 38 Special and Trust Records for all these years, if people at home didn't know that. I met with Spesh and told him, he came to me, I need to learn from you. I heard you're the guy. And I instantly took a liking to him. And he's never once given me any, like, inclination on why I should feel otherwise towards him. It's always been above board, great business. And I just wish I could have those kind of relationships with everyone I work with. Unfortunately, you have to let people be who they truly are. Yeah. Like DMX. Trust someone to show you who they are, and once they do, don't try to think they're anything but who they're showing you they are.
Leave it.
Yep.
Yeah, that's good. That's really, really good. That, you know, in a few times in the interview, you've mentioned your own career, your own music career, which is kind of probably how you started in this. You've now grown and you're taking it to levels, you know, that you probably yourself, when you were first starting out as an MC, couldn't have imagined. Can you talk to us a little bit about your own career as an MC, your love for rap music, for hip hop culture, and how that started? You're originally from Toledo, Ohio.
Right.
Can you talk to us about what hip hop was like there and that early part of your career?
Toledo, Ohio hip hop scene was essentially non-existent. I started rapping when I was 13 years old, and I was a 7th grader. I was in middle, what they call junior high. Yeah. Now, all the popular kids played in bands and stuff like that and really embraced, like, skateboarding culture. Yeah. I discovered Wu-Tang Clan a couple of years later, like maybe 1 year later, 2 years later, maybe something like that, when I got a pair of Vans, like, trying to fit into that culture. And I still wear Vans to this day, but sparsely. Yeah. And it came with a Vans music compilation. And one of the songs on there was Shadowboxing, which to date is my favorite hip hop song of all time, which is the Method Man, produced by RIAA. I just wanted to do something different. And I only freestyled for 3 years before writing my own first song in 1996 to the Nothing But a G Thing beat. So all my original tapes in high school, the first 3 or 4 tapes I did, and CD burners weren't a thing yet. And you didn't have the means to go, like, press your own 1,000 CDs at a time. At least I didn't have the financial means. So I was literally making a tape on, like, karaoke machines and dubbing them one at a time. And I would take, like, 15 to school the next day, sell them, do the same thing every night. I literally would not, from high school to college. So for 7.5 years, 8 years, would not leave campus till I made $100 a day. I bought my own first car with cash. I was the rich friend. And my parents were super like, oh, he has family money. My mom was a teacher. My dad worked in the non-for-profit sector his entire life, like Red Cross, Daymar, the Autism Foundation, Simon Youth Group. My dad oversaw all these schools that were built for at-risk youth. People think that, like, we came from, like, this flood of money. Right. My parents, hey, Mom and Dad, I want to press 1,000 CDs. I need $1,000. Yeah. Good luck. Yeah. That's why you have a job. I worked at McDonald's. I worked at Red Lobster. I worked at Noble Roman's Pizza. I worked at a tanning salon. I worked at a dog biscuit bakery. I worked at all sorts of mad odd jobs and shit. But it wasn't until I moved to Indy where a lot of these opportunities really came to.
Wow. Was Indianapolis the big city close to Toledo?
Columbus, Ohio is the biggest city in Ohio. But when my family moved to Indianapolis when I was 13, 13 going on 14, that's when I really started to like delve more into rap culture. And I took all my music cues from my older brother Steve, who's turning 50 this year. And that's what got me into the Bone Thugs and Harmonies and Cypress Hills and Tribe Called Quest and Snoop Dogg. I remember going with him in his red Mercury Tracer to like I was like it was media something. It wasn't Best Buy. It was another big hub like Best Buy to get, the Chronic and stuff like that when it came in the big long cases, like the security cases and crisscross and all that. And that's like, thank God I had an older brother, because otherwise I probably would have been without direction in my musical plight of what is me. But I took it real serious as an artist when I was in high school. I battled. It wasn't Tower Music. It was another. It started with an M. It'll come to me. It was in Toledo.
Okay.
So maybe it was just a like local franchise or something. But I battled every day, and I beat every single rapper in my high school. I would go to parties, and they would bring their best rappers to these parties, and I destroyed everybody. That's what, like, I can count to this day how many times I've been beaten in a battle in one hand.
Wow.
And these were the legit, like, old school battles, not the like M80 is going to battle disaster in 2 months, and we were like preparing rounds.
Everybody's Googling information.
This was like outside of the shit in high school where just two people would come up to each other. This was like they draw names out of the hat until you get to the finals, and is what it is, and they'd play the instrumentals, that kind of shit. So I really took it serious the whole time. Now, just like my dreams as an A&R, just like my dreams as an executive, I had rap dreams. It was a dream to get a record deal, which I accomplished for the first time in 2008. I was the first, maybe the first or second rap artist in indie. The Mud Kids signed to a label called Crush Entertainment, which was local, and they were distributed by a larger body called Surf Records, which was, outside of indie. I signed to Baby Grand Records. That's New York.
Yeah.
Big shit. Almighty was a part of the Wu-Tang family tree. We toured. We did 30-some dates alongside Canibus, shit like that on his tour. That was a big deal. So that was like, scratch that off the bucket list as an artist. Then I toured all of America, and I performed in several countries overseas. Check that off. I had broke a Guinness World Record as an artist, which put me in a whole other echelon. Now, I did that for charity and funded a middle school in Nigeria, a secondary school. It's not like the education system in America where you have your elementary school, middle school, high school. It is essentially an all-in-one, all-encompassing, grounds for, here is where the kids 9 to 13 are going to be. Here's where 13 to 18 are going to be, and all wearing together in that kind of environment. Had albums hit the Billboard charts. So I did everything I wanted to do as the rapper. There's literally just one thing I want to do that I would still do to this day, but haven't. And that is, I'd love to have a song with Ad Rock from Beastie Boys and Redman. That's the only thing that, but that's like my dream collaboration. When I honestly think, I know Redman. Like I got him, I brokered a show for Redman 11 days ago. I think it'd be easier for me, though, to get the verse from Ad Rock as someone that I've never met or done any business with, because Red is very particular when it comes to the features. Like he was very anti-features for a long time, and in recent years, in the past 5 years, has been more accepting of doing beats and like doing features for other artists outside of his family of artists.
Yeah. No, that's tremendous. Thank you so much for sharing all the history. Your first name and your last name both start with an M. I read somewhere that your rap name originally was Eminem. Is that
my middle initial is N, Nathaniel. Yeah. My first rap name was MNM.
Oh, that's good. And this is before.
So fast forward to 2014 when I'm in the studio with Eminem. Before we walk in, Crooked Eye goes, "All right, M80. Here's the ground rules." And I'm like, afterwards, I'm like, "Have you ever had to say this to anyone else?" Like, "No, just you, because I know you. Don't say that you were the original Eminem.
Right.
Don't tell him. Don't bring up all the work you do with Canibus and blah blah blah. Like, no one cares. Like, don't just only speak when you're spoken to." Was essentially like the top 3 rules.
Right.
Then Eminem ends up speaking to me. We do the pleasantries of the intro and shit.
Yeah.
But during the session, he starts talking to me, and we talked for like 30, 40 minutes. It was awesome.
Yeah.
and you know, about like me and Eminem share a love for Outkast, live music, things of that nature. Those are some of the things we got to talk
Yeah.
about. But yeah, my brother, again, my older brother, when I lived in Toledo, there's this artist that just came out with this project called Infinite, and if you're really going to pursue rapping and being a rapper, I think you might want to change your name because his name's Eminem, but it's spelled differently. And I'm like, oh, that's bullshit, man.
Yeah.
So I had mixtapes come out as Markov, my last
Yeah.
name. I had at least one album come out as Sir Slick Sack. So that made people laugh. But my pager code when we used to be paging each other was
Yeah.
777. So
Yeah.
SSS, that was that. It wasn't until I think my junior year of high school where we came up with the name M80. And it was me and my friend Justin. Justin was driving me home from swim practice, and he's like, "You should be M1000." I'm like, "That's fucking stupid," but let's think on that one. And we came up with M80, and M80 was because like it's a type of explosive.
Yeah.
When you know, explosions leave a protruding impact on whatever the target is, and that's kind of me. Like when people meet me or get to know me, they don't forget me because I'm a very unique individual.
Yeah. Yeah. You definitely are, and that's a great story. I think another great story, and it probably never gets old, is the fact that you held the World Guinness Book record for longest freestyle ever.
Mm-hmm.
Can you talk to us about that experience and how that was documented and what the impact was once you achieved it? Did that kind of do something media-wise? Was it like a thing that
Yeah.
when it happened, it had a ripple effect?
Okay, so when I decided to do it, I now have graduated from law school in San Francisco. I now have 4 M80 albums under my belt, all this touring experience. Almighty had just got its record deal. The underlying theme was two-pronged. One, I was tired of being back in indie, and I also have Wu-Tang indie culture under my belt. I'm also an established A&R now. I also have works from Jizza under my belt, Bronze Editors, The Wiseman. So I'm accomplished as an A&R.
Yeah.
I have a law degree. I'm accomplished as an artist. I think I'm just the greatest thing walking.
Yeah.
Okay? And in this time, I've referred to Indianapolis as M80. That was the beginning. It's my city. I'm just here existing. I got tired of people, the other artist community, lumping us in like I'm a local artist because I'm back here, like living in their locality, not recognizing the national like accolades, worldly accolades. Then too, I was dating a girl, and her friends would always, it'd be like this joke, like, "Oh, you're dating the rapper,
Right.
ha ha ha." Like I'm fucking destroying your significant others when it comes to earning, when it comes to like being a man of the world.
Yeah.
Just like, but I'm the laughing stock when like your guy, "Oh, I'm a real estate developer. I'm a this. Like, dude, they're all lying. Like, so it got to the point where people would ask me what I do, and I'm meeting new people in indie and telling them, well, I work in music and I work with Wu-Tang and I work with Snoop Dogg and blah, blah. And of course, no one believes me.
Right.
Because they're like, why would you be here in Indiana? As if you can't just get on an airplane and travel to go do work. I would be traveling fucking 10, 15 days a month every month, like getting my shit done. So then it got to the point where I'm saying, I just work in music. I'm not elaborating. I work in music because I don't give a fuck if you believe me or not. I know I'm telling you the truth kind of shit. And who the fuck are you anyway? So I said I was going to break the Guinness World Freestyle record. I was there when Super Nat did it at Rock the Bells. Wow. It was the year with Wu-Tang Clan and Rage Against the Machine. I had approached Super Nat about my want to break his record.
Yeah.
At another Rock the Bells event in Chicago. That was the year that hands-on Raekwon, Method Man's guy, punched Joe Budden in the face. Wow. That was the year Slaughterhouse performing, Tech Nine's performing. It was a great year for me because that's also the year I met Tech Nine and spawned our beautiful relationship with, you know, from the A&R side, from the event production side, all the stuff. But he kind of like, yeah, man, if you think you can do it, do it.
Yeah.
Like, thank you for asking, like, my permission for my blessing.
Yeah.
You know? The same ethics apply, like I said. Like, if these companies want to steal from my intellectual property and trademarks and service marks and stuff when it comes to doing beats and features pack, ask me. Let's work it out. I'm not hoarding the opportunities. I'm actually giving them to all these other companies, but I'm not going to let you steal from me. Example, when Murs broke the 24-hour thing, he literally stole the idea from SuperNet and ran with it. and was unapologetic about it. Like everyone knows that was Supernat's thing.
No
you know?
credit.
Yeah, like you don't do that to people. I wouldn't like someone's not gonna tell me, man, I have this idea to A&R a fucking Snoop Dogg album. I'm gonna reunite Snoop and Dre, and then I'm gonna be like, I'm gonna do it first because I know them better. Like if that's your dream, that's your idea, that's yours, man. I'll come up with my own fucking ideas. But again, I'm just unique in that way where I see that there's enough money and opportunity to go around. I don't have to take off the next man's plate.
Yeah.
And Murs really did that to Nat in a way to big himself up. And, that buys him corny points in my book because I know that wasn't your fucking shit. Like Nat was really building to that. So when I decided, okay, I got Nat's blessing, I'm going to do this. His record was like 8 hours and 45 minutes. Supposedly there's a guy named Dio in Canada that had broken the record. All right. And his record was 9 hours and 12 minutes. So I was like, I can't just break the 8 hour and 45 and then maybe only do 9 hours, but still have not broken the record because this guy actually has it. So my goal was to do 9 hours and 15 minutes and 15 seconds. Now, to let you know, to go back on what I was saying, you can't just rap for 24 hours. If Nat was really preparing for this, you practice. You work out. You get your lungs right. You get everything about your body and mind right. So I was working with Rusty Redenbacher, who used to go by Chalk Surreal. He was the member of the Mud Kids. And I'd go to his place once a week, and he'd just be DJing records for an hour, 2 hours at a time. And it would be in a BPM sequence. Like, this whole hour of beats is going to be 86 BPMs. And I'd freestyle, and we'd record it. And he's not recording me rapping, record the beats. So I could take the beat CD and drive around. And I had a recorder, like, up here on the, if you can see, like, up here. So I could be at a stoplight and just start like freestyling. And I'd come up with an idea. When I go home, be like, write down the good ideas to put in my songs.
Yeah.
And that's what it was. And we'd get together until we never rehearsed 9 hours at one time.
Right.
At most, it was like 2-3 hours. But and I was swimming and working out and eating right. And I wasn't smoking and drinking and shit like that. And just getting right for the event. And then I accomplished the feat. Did it for charity. I'm still to date the only person to do it for charity. So even though I don't hold the record, I held it from 2009 to December 2011. My school stands. The purpose, the charity is what reigns to this day. Okay, that's what separates me from all the hands that has changed in the meantime. The record has also changed. When I did it, it was Guinness World Freestyle Rap, and here's the giant rule packet: what you can and can't do. They've changed it now to longest endurance rap.
Oh,
it's a whole different packet of rules. When Murs did it, he rapped Snoop Dogg songs for like an hour. If you understand. And so that's completely different. Like if I could have sat there and rapped M80 songs and I had 4 or 5 albums under my belt, that could have at least taken 4 hours of time off.
Right.
But no, I have this giant dry erase board and I'm doing what I'm supposed to be doing and, accomplished the 9 hours and change. And yes, they had to be like Guinness World Record approved, timekeepers there. The whole thing is documented on 10 1-hour DVDs. But for what you're getting at, yes, from a media standpoint, it built up everything about me as an artist. So anytime someone wanted to book me for a show, which I did hundreds of shows after, my fee now is substantial. Anytime someone wanted to book me for a feature, again, it all played into, it became worth my time for all the training and preparation I put into it.
Yeah. No, that's awesome. Thank you for sharing that. That's such a good story. It was such a dope idea. When you train for it, how long did you train for it? Because it's interesting how you train for it almost like a marathon.
I want to say somewhere in the realm of 4 to 6 months.
Wow.
Mm-hmm. I mean, I asked, the Rock the Bells thing, I believe, was in August when I got Nat's blessing. Yeah. And then I did the event in December of 2009.
Got it. That's good. There's another interesting thing that I wanted to ask you about that is highly unique. You're moving in an elite echelon of hip hop and the new Rakim album is dropping really soon. Everybody's excited about it. But you've also got things like your business in Kazakhstan. How did you connect how did all this truly man of mystery all over the world?
I have gold and platinum records. Remember, the RIAA only exists in America. Mm-hmm. There's other music associations that determine what's gold, platinum, things of that nature that apply to each one of these other sects. So I have gold and platinum records in Germany, Switzerland, Bulgaria, Canada, and soon coming Kazakhstan. The Kazakhstan connection was I had done a record with Snoop. It was, and this is a very unique record. It was the first time a license. If you read our license pack, some people will write, "Hey, I got the verse. Like, I'd like to have Gucci Mane do a video. Can you make it happen?" The answer is sure. If the money's right, yeah, you can make anything you want happen. Typically, no, though, because if you have a licensed verse and then shoot a music video for it, it essentially becomes your record. Everyone else just has the verse, right? If you have an official video with your shit and other people have the verse, it's really your song at that point. Everyone else is just kind of existing. So I told this person no, they couldn't get a video done with their Snoop license, but the offer they made, Snoop's like, "I'll do it." I'm like, "Oh." So that was the example. The very first time we had a video done for a song with a verse license. The Bulgarian artist Alexander had the same sponsors or financial backers as the Kazakhstan group, Cashew. The people who shot the Bulgarian music video with Alexander and Snoop Dogg shot the video for Cashew and Snoop Dogg. So it was tied in that way. And it's one of those things like, yes, you can go to me for any artist in the world. Even if I don't know the person, everyone's 6 degrees separation. I didn't know DMX when we started working together. I just knew I could get to DMX. I didn't know Juicy J personally, but I like, yeah, I can get to him. So I reached out to people in my network that could make the connection. Yeah. Hey, I'm M80. This is what I do. This is my history. I'm trying to get you feature money. I'm trying to get you show money. And I've booked 5 or 6 Juicy J shows, 2 or 3 features since. I booked DMX shows, features, did A&R. He wanted me to be the A&R admin. That's what kept us so close. DMX's last ever Instagram post before he passed away was for me. We were offing the very last of the tour merch, and that's when I knew something was wrong with X. He's like, every time we make $2,500, call me and call Pat, and I'll tell you how to forward the money. So we make the first $2,500 within like 48 hours, 72 hours of launching the site, and I can't get a hold of him to pay him. And I'm like, that's fucking odd. At first, I thought something was wrong with X's manager because he answers the phone every time I call, or at least if not, will call me back within an hour. Yeah. X is one of those persons that you'll get voicemail, you send a text, and he'll hit you back within 7 days. That's how he treated his phone. You know, Rakim is not a very phone savvy guy, but because we're so like gung ho on this project, will either call me every day, or if I call, will hit me back the same day. So DMX and Wu-Tang Clan at that time had the same PR firm. I reached out to the PR firm that got a hold of Pat Gallo, DMX's manager, and that's when they confirmed, no, everything's fine with Pat. There's actually an issue with X. And that's when, you know, we just kind of, please be on standby. Now, the silver lining is when X passed and all the family assets were frozen and people still fight, you know, I mean, the estate's probably worked out by now, a couple years later, but while the families and all these people are fighting over the estate and their accounts are frozen and no money's coming in, I had money coming in for them and held it down. And that was overshadowed by Kanye West has Balenciaga DMX shirt and makes $1 million and like takes care of the family. I don't believe any of that money actually went to the family, but again, there's expenses. Like I know a lot of my money went towards legal fees for them, but they had to pay for, you know, the Barclay Center. They had to pay for X's private funeral. They had to pay for legal. Like there's a lot. So, you know, I applaud Kanye for what he did to help out the family, even though DMX would have never in his life worn a fucking Balenciaga shirt. The motherfucker wore Dickies suits and Timberlands and shit. Like that was who DMX was, and Fox Motorsport stuff. But yeah. You know? So that's how like all these international connections have come, and that's why I'm always able to expand my working network, because I can always make the job happen regardless of what you want. That's what needs to be understood. I am a for-hire A&R. So it's like I'm not going to take any job and be like on the potential of making money. Yeah. I'm supposed to be retained, and then if there's money to be made, then I work to make that money because I'm going to get a percentage of it. So it's just like you would with an attorney.
Yeah, no, that's good. And you are an attorney, you know, so you've been incredibly knowledgeable about everything you share with us. Your story's fascinating. I'm sure I could talk with you for hours and hours, but I wanna go ahead and start to wrap up. And I think that this is a good segue where, we talk about the services that you provide and, how to go about that. If anybody who's interested in getting a consultation and, what the levels are and what's the correct way to go about working with you if there's somebody interested in doing that.
Everything with me starts with the consultation. I don't care. There are people that DM me, hey man, I got like 50 G's. I want to fucking do X, Y, and Z. The consultation's $500. We start there at one because again, I'm past the phase of working for the money. Like I used to take every job that had dollar sign to it under the sun. Okay, that's what people are supposed to do when the goal is to make as much money as possible. Like I said, now it's about working with people I actually give a fuck about, where there's a familial feel to it, where like any one of my clients can tell you, there's some of them tuned in right now that have met me one time in real life or maybe never at all. But like anytime you call me, I'm going to answer. Like even when you just want to talk kind of shit, as long as you started the relationship off correctly and put the money in my pocket, you have access to me. That $500 goes a longer way than just being like, I got to talk to the guy one time.
Yeah.
Like you've now essentially bought my respect, you bought my friendship, and it's like whatever I can do to help you. Yes, if there's other money that's to be made and needs to be provided, I need it.
Yeah.
But the point is, I would rather talk to people who value my time. Yeah. That's the whole point. Like when I made my albums, I never asked Killer Priest for a free verse or a rhyme fest or Redman or whoever it might be. I understand that this is their profession. This is how they eat.
Yeah.
So therefore, I'm going to pay them. And now the awesome thing about how far I've come in my career plight is these are the same people that have to come back and pay me to do work. And they respect that because I always respected their business model.
That's good.
People that don't understand the business of music will never, ever understand how valuable respecting someone's business is, respecting someone's time. I have, in all my Snoop work from 07 to now, I've literally out of my own hand put millions, between $2 and $3 million into that man's hand. One time did I get a verse on the arm. Once. I didn't ask for it. It happened that way.
Wow.
But he's looked out in many other ways, favors, taking care of friends and family at shows, like doing what he can, which seems effortless, but I respect and appreciate, like he's really going above and beyond of his character, and that just speaks volumes to the kind of man he is. Like, I feel like I've done a lot for Wu-Tang Clan, where some of the members extremely appreciative, others probably wouldn't lend me a helping hand if I was laying on the ground and couldn't get up, to each his own.
Yeah.
That just, so you got to figure out what kind of person you want to be. But back to your question, I begin with the consultations. It's $500 for my time. I send you a Q&A, you fill it out, you return it to me in full, and I really get to digest who you are as an artist and where you're trying to go moving forward. I craft a program for you to follow that can be like a 6, 9, or 12-month program. Assuming you're working the program correctly and efficiently, then if you hire me for any A&R services in that time, I deduct the $500 that you paid for the consultation. People come to me the majority is for consultations.
Yeah.
The second thing is for A&R administration, which is the legal work, the production memorandums, the guest artist sign-offs, the publishing splits. How do we do this, Em? What can I pay you to do this? You can hire me to be your A&R admin agent, and that starts at $7,500, and that's all I do. Like, essentially, I'm doing your legal for a whole year. So I get plenty of those hirings because people know if they have their own attorneys, they have to spend $300, $400, $500. Dude, I had an attorney one time that was $750 an hour.
Yeah.
So if you're spending, let's say, $500 an hour, that's in between 3 and 7. For $7,500, that would buy you 12 or 15 hours of work, but you get me for the whole year.
Yeah.
Makes sense, right?
Well, and access to everything else you offer, right? You have a network of people.
But that's my point.
So
a lot of people
areas.
come to me just for that because of the savings aspect of it.
Yeah.
Now, if I do some work and they need to run it by their attorney, at least they're saving money by giving my finished product to their attorney and saving money that way. That's how I began my relationship with Wu-Tang. They didn't sign M80 as the artist. They brought me on board as an admin first, then A&R, then executive, then almighty. Like, it all happened. Like, the artistry shit was last. It's kind of like the Kanye scenario where everyone's fucking with him because he's a great producer, but he's like, I rap. I had to work my way in by doing every task under the sun that helped better their business and make them money.
Yeah.
And I'm okay with that, So I'm accessible. Instagram, almighty M80. My email address is almightym80@gmail.com. My business cards have my direct cell phone number. I don't have 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 lines. I have one line. That's what it is. I just ask that people be respectable enough to know when you approach me, I am 100% about the business. Yes, I like to joke around online and stuff, but I don't joke about business. And my time now, like I said, is best spent. I value every moment I get with my daughter. I value the times I get with my wife. I value, not having to be on the road as much. Like, I'm on a family trip right now in the Midwest, but I worked in the Snoop work, and I'm great. I had to ask my wife's permission because when I brokered the video shoot for Snoop and the Cashew artist from Kazakhstan, I could not attend the video. And Kevin, Snoop's manager, shouts Kevin, was like, dude, be with your family. I'll handle it. This is what I do. But I just value all the time I get to spend with dog, because even if it's once a month or once every 6 months or whatever it is, it's the fucking dog, man. That's the grand champ. I was there for every single one of my DMX works. They were like, hey, we could just knock this out in New York. No. Either if you do, I'm coming, or I want you to come to Indy or come to LA. And that's how we did all work. Of course, I want to be as present in all these sessions as possible. And that's just, the joy of it. But again, I'm not going to sacrifice the work getting done out of my own self-interest of wanting to be present just to be like, I was with BG, like I was there for that, or I was with Redman, or I was with Wu-Tang Clan. Like, it's taking the opportunities as they come now. And before we wrap up, going back to the Rakim project, yes, July 26th for the release date on that, the single June 21st. But I want it to be known, as I've said this in videos before, though I'm the executive producer of it, though I'm the one that spent the 4 years to really get this to the forefront, I'm very grateful for other personalities involved, like Matt Kemp, his manager, and Nick Wiz, Rakim's recording engineer, and Domingo Padilla, one of Rakim's longtime producer friends and engineer friends, and Andy Rodriguez on my end that handled the album's mixing and mastering, and Adrian Wood, Beckler, Anno Domini, as you know him, for assisting me with the ideas for the Beats and Features packs and the God pack, and just everyone that really pushed me, my family, my friends, all that, to where we're at currently, where no matter what I do with the rest of my life, July 26th, I'm the #1 A&R in hip-hop. No one can take that away from me, with the #1 record in hip-hop and accomplishing the greatest feat in the past 15 years.
Yeah. Congratulations to you on that. I think the whole hip-hop world is holding their breath for this new Rakim album. And happy Father's Day to you. Thank you for the most amazing 150th milestone episode.
I'm honored.
Yeah, I could have imagined. And well, I hope to run it back with you at some point in time. And
thank you.
I'm gonna be cheering for you. And if there's anything I can do for you in the future, just let me know.
Appreciate it, sir. Thank you to everyone at home that tuned in.
Salute.
Thanks.